Hey guys, this is Scott, and we left a very important model show up of our listing here in the episode, so I am adding it here up at the very beginning. Apologies to my friend Dave, but if you're in the Michigan area, make sure to check out the 2025 Great Lakes Challenge on Saturday, October 4th, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's presented by IPMS West Michigan and West Michigan Aviation Academy. It's at the West Michigan Aviation Academy, which is at the Grand Rapids International Airport. It's got 1, 2, 3 judging, 55 different categories, including out of the box and basic build. They have 5 special awards and also a Best Great Lakes Subject Theme Award. They're going to have over 50 vendor tables, seminars on techniques and special subjects, a make and take event for the kids, and raffle prizes all day long. You can contact Gordon Ensing at gordy914@att.net with questions, or you can visit their club social media site at facebook.com/We Love Scale Modeling. So again, if you're in the Michigan area, the 2025 Great Lakes Challenge presented by IPMS West Michigan and West Michigan Aviation Academy.
I hope you got that one.
And we are live. Welcome everyone to episode 123 of The Plastic Posse. The Plastic Posse is brought to you by Micro World Games, Tankcraft, Tamiya USA, Bases by Bill, and AK Interactive. Also, to all our Patreon supporters, a big tally-ho and thank you for making this all possible. We appreciate your support. We are missing our good friend Grant today as he's at the Wondercon model show in Oxnard. We hope he and everyone who is attending has a great time. So with me we have JB, Scott, TJ, and myself, and we're going to go around the room and see what everyone has been up to. So we'll start with JB.
Well, thanks, Jensen. It's great to be here working on the SMC project. It is in full motion. I had the opportunity to spend a good amount of time yesterday at the bench and got 131 from primer to basically finished painting almost. I think I'm going to respray the markings. 131 had a unique kind of numeral system where it wasn't just the standard like inner color, outer white outline. It had these hash marks. I thought I could hand paint them. They're not up to my standard. So I'm going to put the masks back on, give a gentle sand, and then respray and actually put strips across and make it look crisp. It was an adventure for about 90% of the day. When I was painting, I'm like, this thing looks terrible. And then I was talking to Sam Dwyer about it last night because he experienced the same. When this scheme, it's so weird because it's green and brown with the disc scheme on top. And when you do that, you take it off and it looks like a clown car. And you just wonder, like, what am I doing? And then I added the Dunkelgelb clouds on top of it, and I'm happy where it's going. And then with this, as we talked about, it'll get a bunch of burn marks and scarring on the left side of the vehicle. Yeah, I think today I'll just touch up the markings. And then what's really great is I got 3 awesome bases in from Bases by Bill. Absolutely blown away at the quality. Christian and Bill and Wes are really great at what they do. And they made me 3 awesome bases, 2 of which will go to SMC. One's for the M1008, and then the other 2, one's for a Firefly I have, and then the Panther, obviously. And it's a pretty good sized base. And I was like, wow, this is big. And I was a little worried. But as I got the Panther on its wheels, started to lay out the scene, I'm like, I think actually this is the right size. I'll add some undulation and elevation behind it to kind of tilt it over like the picture. And then it gives me enough room to make a little road section with some crap scattered around. But overall, that's been my main focus. Spent a good amount of time yesterday, kind of just zoned out, put on some tunes and painted my guts out. But yeah, I'm pretty happy how it came out. So today I'll touch up the markings. And then by the end of the evening, I hopefully will have what does Martin call it? A globalized wash aka a filter, I feel, and a pin wash, which I know some people don't understand what a pin wash is or vehemently get triggered by that word pin wash. So we'll have a pin wash on it as well.
Man, you
Very
made
nice.
huge amounts of progress on
Mhm.
that thing yesterday. It was awesome. Looks really good, I think, but those tritone schemes tend to be high contrast, so you gotta, like we were talking about last night, JB, you gotta trust the process, hang in there. And those numerals are pretty interesting. The way that they're on there makes you kind of wonder why they were the way that they were.
Yeah, first SS, that was like their thing. They didn't have the standard black with the white outline. They had these hash marks, which I assume, it's a stencil, it's sprayed. I don't know. At that time they're like, whatever, Hans, just put it on and don't worry about it. Yeah, they're just a little bit unique. And there's no Balkenkreuz on this. It's only literally the 131. So yeah, it's going good though.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I saw the pictures this morning for me. I was just like, yeah, that's very nice. Compared to some of the other images I had to see in chat, that one cheered me up. So, moving on to Scott. How are you and what's on your bench?
I'm doing okay. Didn't get a chance to do as much modeling this week as kind of I had hoped, but moving forward, had a kind of a dental procedure done, make sure everything's in good shape before I travel. So got that done and behind me. Yeah, moving forward, I also got a base from Bases by Bill. Christian and I jumped on a call and he had some really great ideas and they delivered obviously first class product. Really, really like it. I've got a walnut base and then he made like a concrete floor, like a shop floor top for me, which looks really good. And then a plate. So got the concrete floor painted, used like a medium gray kind of concrete base and then some deck tan through one of those spray templates to give kind of a cloudy pattern. And there's sections of the floor that I'll do some washes and other stuff. So that's going really well and had some negative modeling and dealt with that. Just had a weird reaction on something. Not sure what caused it, but had to spend a day or two kind of sorting that. But the model's far enough along that you just got to deal with it and go. Some of the paint was lifting up from the model in a few areas. So dealt with that. And I think we're back on track and moving forward. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Yes, onwards and upwards with a positive attitude. I know what you mean about paint peeling. That's really, because I've had some happen on my model. Talk about that in a bit. But yeah, just those little things that we can't plan for, they can really I think the emotionally settles back more than physically with a model. And it can just be a bit annoying, but like you say, just onwards and keep making progress.
Yeah, Scott mentioned it the paint peeled around the photo etch, and I told him, and for our listeners, if you don't have it, Tamiya makes a metal primer that is awesome. I use it on everything now. I had some paint lift one time and I think I picked it up. It's just a couple bucks. It's in one of those square bottles and it is absolutely fantastic. It's clear. It comes with a brush, but I typically use just a soft bristle brush and I paint it over everything, including barrels, photo etch pieces, and you can mask your daylights out on top of it and it will not lift. So highly recommended.
Yeah, I think my issues might have been, John and I were talking last night, might have been the Goons metal primer because the issues that I had were sort of all either on the brass on the model or around it, which is really, really weird. And I used Goons Mr. Surfacer primer, used Tamiya paint, so nothing weird, nothing exotic, but yeah, anyway, but got it dealt with and moving forward. So anyway.
We continue, and that moves us on to TJ. I know you've been busy with work and all things in life, but how's the bench looking for you?
Oh, it's pretty good. I've been making some solid progress on my SMC build. Not as much as JB. Hopefully I can change that a little bit today. Did Friday when I got home from work. I had a little bit of time before my daughter's football game. She's a varsity cheerleader. I get to go to the football games on Friday nights, which is fun. I love football, even when high schoolers are playing it. So that was good. They won. They scored like 73 points. Her team did. So I told her that they're listening to the cheerleaders. So keep it up. You're encouraging them to do good, and they've been doing it. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I got like an initial the first two initial layers down on the exterior. Interior has been done, so everything's buttoned up, and I'm going to refine it a little bit today. I've actually already sprayed another coat of chipping fluid on it. You guys on the call can probably see it sitting there behind me. I'm going to add a couple more colors, and then after that, I'm going to get on to the actual paint, or what's left of the paint. And luckily, my buddy Pat Brown, who everyone here knows, Awesome dude. He cut me some stencils for the War Department registration numbers and the name for the side. So that's cool. They're not really visible too much on my reference. You can see them a little bit, but they're definitely there. At least the name is. So yeah, hopefully, I think I got a pretty solid plan of attack for how I'm going to do it. We'll see if it works. I had a paint mule all prepped and I decided, no, not even gonna bother. Just gonna YOLO it and see, if I mess it up, I mess it up.
Full send.
Yeah, full send. I don't have the time or the patience. I often do, but in this particular case, because I've got 4.5-ish weeks to finish this, which is enough time given the state that it's in now. But my biggest fear was like, I would do it, like do the process that I'm going to do and be like, oh man, this looks awesome. And then not not do it as well on the actual thing that counts. That's the one thing I always fear when it comes to like using paint mules. Like I'll nail it on this, and then when I go to transfer it to the real thing, the thing that matters, it's not as good, whether it's in my mind or just in general. Because like sometimes I feel like the first time you do something, it's the best, like, and then you're like, oh, I could do this again, and you try it, and you're like, no, maybe I can do this again. But well, I don't know. We'll see. I like where it's at now. I'm happy with it. I just wanted to punch it up more. Maybe that's something we'll talk about later. That idea of how to get to where you want to be and what it takes. But yeah, I have bench time now, even though I'm more or less on a normal work schedule. But other than Saturday mornings, now everything else is pretty much the same. So
you went to a show yesterday, right?
I did, very very briefly. It was the National Capital Model Soldier Society annual show. I think it was what did they say? 64th annual show. So that show's been going on for over 6 decades, and it's a good show. It's small, but it's cool. I didn't display anything because I got there late because I had to teach apprenticeship school Saturday morning, and by the time I got out of school and got over to Springfield where the show is, everyone from my aunt's club, because we have a display table in the vendor room to like put our work down, and stickers for the club and flyers for the club to get people to come hang out with us because we have a good time, as we mentioned in the last episode. By the time I got there, everyone had gone to lunch, so I just met them at lunch. And luckily, again, Pat Brown's awesome. He got a big ass quesadilla, and he's like, I'm not going to eat all this. If you want half of it, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to take a chicken and cheese quesadilla. So by the time I got actually to the show, it was probably like almost 3:00. And the show, they were, I think, just getting ready to vote for Best in Show. So yeah, but it was fun. I saw Jim Rice was there. I bought some stuff from him. I bought some other stuff. My buddy Brendan, that's in our club, he I think he might have posted it in the posse group too. He's been working on the TACOM M3A1 Lee, the cast hull Lee, which is like the coolest version of the Lee. He had his work in progress there. I'm like, oh damn, I need one of those. And he's like, hey, that vendor over there has one. He's only got one left. But I think Jeff was looking at it. I'm like, the hell he is. So I like ran over there and bought it. So I was happy about that. I don't know where I'm going to cycle that into my build queue, but I freaking love that thing. I know JB did one like right after it came out, because you did like a whole step-by-step. It was pretty awesome.
I think I've got that article saved somewhere on there. I've got it somewhere on my bookmark bar because that's when I used to stalk JB before I like knew him as a person.
Now you can't get away from me. You're like, oh my God. I see behind the curtain, it's nasty.
I know what you mean about paint mules, though. Just going back to that, I don't have one. I used to, and I don't use it for the exact same reason. The fact that it's like, okay, I've nailed it on this. I apply it to the model. It's like, this looks shit. Why doesn't it look as good as the paint mule? So, yeah, it's do it once, do it right, or at least try and do it right on the actual thing that matters. But yeah, it's good to see you at the bench. I have to be polite and nice to you on the podcast. That's the thing.
Yeah, I totally get the paint mule comment. I don't have one either. And I also don't take practice swings when I go play golf. I'm like, I don't want to miss a good swing, so I just hit the ball. So yeah, I get it. We should have a topic about it.
100%.
What about you, man? What have you been up to?
Building 48,
I was going to say,
48 different airplanes.
Apart from receiving non-stop sass from JB, TJ, and Robbie, and everyone else on the page, I have been very busy every single night without fail working on these two 109s for now, the important ones that are going to win me a meal. Yeah, no, I'm working on both 109 G6 ASs. They are both coming along very, very nicely, I like to think. I got them painted, and when I did the mottling on the night fighter version, didn't like it at all because mottling's just is one of my weaker painting techniques. But now I'm looking at it after like all the paint effects, the fading, the weathering. It's had filters through clear coats and oil work and pin washes. It really fades it down and really blends it into the surface rather than looking very obvious and blotchy. So I'm actually, it's the best Love to Offer scheme I've done so far. I have another 6 to do by the next 4 weeks. But honestly, I know when I made the statement I was going to do this many aircraft, but looking at where I am right now with these two, incredibly confident. Don't know how I'll feel when I come to do the P-51s with a natural metal finish, but honestly, these 109s, I love them, and I'm actually quite. I hate giving myself like compliments for my work, but I am very happy with the position they're in and how they're looking. So progress is progressing at a very progressive rate, and I am very happy with that.
The modeling on the 109 that you did looks amazing. Just like we talked about, you were all worried about it, and man, it just looks fantastic.
Thank you. I'm going to try the one that's all over RLM 76. That one's going to get weathered down. It's going to get quite heavily weathered because the entire aircraft's like 76. It's light blue, so that needs to be like, I think, pushed to be made interesting. But we're getting there. It's looking good. And that's the one with the red landing gear and red wheel hubs. I think that's a really striking little contrast for that aircraft as well. So, but again, we'll talk about the SMC stuff a little bit more later. But yeah, very good. Been very, very productive. I think I've modeled every single night since our last recording. I have to, since I put that promise out there. So yeah, that's where I'm at. And speaking of those little aircraft, I want to give Christian another massive shout out. I messaged him one evening because I saw the base that JB got for his M1340 last year. I was like, they're really nice. I want one. So I got some measurements wrote out and dimensions and some plaques with text that I want. I sent them to Christian. He could not have been more helpful. He could not have helped any more. Give me a choice of materials, like different heights and all that stuff. It was just, yeah. And they are making their way to JB at some point soonish, I imagine. But I'm very excited to see him in person. And I'm kind of excited to see JB be like, oh, you ordered this many. Great. I have to carry all these.
Well, if it's too heavy, we'll distribute it in Josh and Scott and I's check bag.
Luckily, they're small. They're 472nd aircraft, and they will overhang slightly. They're very small bases.
How many did you get?
So moving on. No, all together, I ordered 7 bases.
7?
One of them's bigger because it's for a 48th aircraft, but 7, and the widest base is 180 mil.
I'm going to charge you a tariff. I think
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'll pay for any excess luggage weight.
Fine. We'll take care of it. That's all good. Yeah,
the plaques are beautiful.
Yeah, we'll make it work. It's all good.
Thank you. As well as a bottle of Solva set if you could.
You can have mine that's sitting on my shelf because
the acid.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I want to kill someone, I'll add that to their drink. Like, good lord.
Oh, I love it. I know there's a European alternative. It's called I don't know what it's called. It's apparently it's incredibly brutal, but I want some because I don't like decals. Oh yeah, I just want to quickly mention decals. I could mention this in the SMC bit later, but first time using Edouard's new peel decals. I don't know why everyone was causing such a fuss, but we'll talk about that later. They're really easy to use. But yes,
you also don't have to peel them. There's a lot of people that don't.
You don't.
And they look just fine.
Yeah, 1 or 2 I haven't peeled, and you genuinely couldn't tell. It's going to be quite a lengthy discussion about them later, because honestly, there was such a big hoo-ha about when they came out, and they're really good. Yeah, and peeling's a choice, to peel or not to peel. But yeah, okay, so now we'll move on to TJ for models from the Plastic Posse group that we all liked and appreciated over the past couple of weeks.
All right, so I'll start off. I'm going to kind of pick an easy one for me. I'm going to pick Pete Colclaw's M4105 that he did. It's really cool. I know that's a kind of kit that he built. It's the Dragon kit. But unfortunately, if you want an M4105, you kind of have that as your only choice other than the TMD resin turret, which is difficult to work with. But he managed to cobble it together. It looks really good. It's got the OD and black scheme on it, which is, I mean, just chef's kiss. I love that scheme, and he did a really good job. So looking forward to see where he takes it from there, because he just got the base color or the paint on it now. I think yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. Yeah, that was my pick.
Very nice. GB, what caught your eye?
Yeah, I got to go with Sully Scale Models Hurricane. It's really, really well done. I think it's awesome. The paint looks super crisp on it, and the latest progress shots that made me choose it were he was using one-man army masks, and those are freaking awesome. And he's just nailed it through and through. So I'm a sucker for RAF aircraft, and he's done a really, really nice job on it, and I can't wait to see it finished.
Beautiful. Scott, what about yourself?
Yeah, I picked a model by a young man that I met at the Rocky Mountain Expo. Really, really good guy, really up and coming. I think he's 16 years old. Anyway, he did Todd Schmidt. He did Hansa H-29 seaplane. You can just see every build that he does, he's growing by leaps and bounds. And the seaplane looks really good. I think it's 72nd scale. And but the base that he did is really, really cool too. Kind of unique and kind of a plank board base with a stylized German text. Just really nice work. I liked it. Really, really fun to look at.
Yeah, so I've seen that one a few times. I do like it. It's really nice on. Okay, for me, last but certainly not least, I chose Steve Baker's Qatari 109K. Been working on the cockpit on that. I mean, it's a 109, of course I'm going to like it, but also really interested to see how he takes on this the Qatari kit. And I was really amazed that all the details, it's all out of box. I thought he added some stuff to it, but really well detailed. And he's painted and weathered it really nicely. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that like come together. Hopefully, comes together relatively soon, so I can see it in paint. I want to see what scheme he goes for that really late war Luftwaffe scheme, because those planes were literally thrown together from different manufacturers, like different tail, different wings, different fuselage parts. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And he's doing a really nice job so far. I mean, Steve always does great work with these aircraft, so of course I had to choose it. Okay, everyone. So keep your builds coming in, post them on the page. So on our next episode, we can select more of your amazing work. When I have it over to JB now for our first discussion point, because he had a really good idea, but I'll hand it over to JB to talk about that more.
Yeah, thanks, Jensen. And I think this topic is a little unique, but one that I often experience. And I think our stashes are evidence of that, where really the main thing here is inspiration is perishable. Inspiration comes and goes. Sometimes it lasts longer than others, and I can definitely look at my stash and realize like, oh, why did I buy this? Oh, I was inspired at that time. And to be honest, it's the same with working on a model. You lose inspiration, you put it on the shelf of doom, and you walk away. So I guess the whole point of this is just talking about that theme. Maybe when we've experienced it, what drives it, how do we recognize it, and maybe how do we get better? It's interesting. I also think back, gosh, I feel like, I don't know if my parents told me this or somebody, like, if you really want something, wait like a week and then think about it. And if you still want it, you can buy it. And I think there's some truth to that with modeling as well. There's been countless times where I've bought something, I've wanted to work on it, and then it just ends up on the shelf. So, maybe with this, I'll start off with Scott, but, maybe talk about some moments where you've had inspiration, but it's kind of fallen to the wayside, whether it's, you find something else that's more inspiring, or you just get tired of it and you kind of forget about it. So, and I also have some points too to continue the discussion, but over to you, Scott.
This is an interesting point, JB. I really like it. I hadn't really thought about it in this context, but man, the list of new Tamiya armor releases that I've purchased and bought aftermarket parts for, and then a year or two later, you go to the stash and you look at it and you go, now, why did I buy this artillery piece again? JB's holding up his latest purchase. It's a really good point, and it's one of the reasons why when I'm working, I really only work on one model at a time. I do have a few that have made it to the shelf of doom. I guess I kind of consider it more of an in-process shelf, but I really have a hard time moving from thing to thing because of, like what you said, the inspiration. And you get a model and you move it over to the side and then you work on something else when you go over to it. I really have a tough time with that transition. Maybe I just have some kind of attention issue, but yeah, I really think your point about inspiration being perishable, I think it's really, really valid for me. I'm 100% bought into that.
Yeah, there's definitely a shelf life on things. I found that, especially in projects, if they carry on past, I don't know, I'll say 30 to 45 days without significant progress, that's the quickest way to get to fall off the radar for me. I dare I say the Panther was kind of getting close to that. And then yesterday reinvigorated it once you take that next major step and seeing progress. So I mean, it's really interesting, and I think I think 35 to 45 days is about the time frame for me. And Jensen, I saw your head shaking, so maybe I'll go to you next and your thoughts behind the subject.
No, yeah, it's funny. It's something I've spoken to other friends about in other creative fields. Like I have friends who are artists or designers for whatever, and it's something we have talked about. Like I'm very much the same. If something, which happens to me unfortunately a lot, if something stays on the bench too long and doesn't progress significantly enough, the motivation's gone for it because it's just sat there. But also it's the fact that I'm sick of the sight of it. It's like I've looked at this for so long in this same state, and artists do that with the same thing, digital art or whatever. They'll stare at the same canvas like, I keep looking at this, I'm investing time in it, and it's not going anywhere. And granted, a lot of that is self-inflicted, but I've lost count, and probably you have all lost count, of how many projects I've started where it'll get started, really motivated for the first few days. I'll find something in life, not specifically modeling, that will distract me. It'll sit on the bench, then I'm just like, okay, all motivation and momentum I had with that build now is gone. And it's where I learned that I was very much if I'm starting something, you see it through to the end, especially on projects, because otherwise it's going to meet the same fate as 80% of the things I start do. It's going to sit there, go back in the box, back on the shelf. I'll forget about it and maybe even never return to it. The Jumbo, I think, being one of those exceptions, because Peter Rusher actually told me to get back to that one SMC. I was like, oh, okay, yes, sir. But yeah, it's one of those, inspiration is very much like a wave. I have to ride it while it's there because so quickly it dies. And it can be something so insignificant that on a project is like, well, don't want to do this now. It can even just be like a little mistake or an error in the paintwork, or I break something on it. I'm just like, oh, right, well, it's a sign from God. I'm not supposed to do this. But it just very quick, like my inspiration's very brittle glass, very easily fractured. It's just, again, one of my foibles, but it's frustrating because I'm aware of it and I know I have to ride it whilst it's there, which makes me really cautious with my modeling time because I know how quickly that can get destroyed.
No, 100%. And maybe TJ, I'll kick it over to you for your thoughts on this topic.
Well, yeah, because I know I've mentioned it before that I probably have more in progress things than probably everyone on this podcast combined. I think the last count I had, it was like 36 or something like that. It's like a ridiculous amount of things that I've started and been like, nah. And I've started every single one because I got like super inspired to do something, whether it's like I saw something someone else was working on. I know someone mentioned that in a post in the group the other day about like, have you ever bought something because you saw someone else do it? And I'm like, hell yeah, I didn't comment on it, but when I saw it, I'm like, hell yeah, I do it all the time. Thinking not just like, oh man, I never even considered that as a subject until I saw, this one person's build of it or whatever. Yeah, I have a literal mountain, a little closet full. It's right behind me actually, of things that I've started and have not gotten back to. A lot of those I probably never will get back to, if I'm being honest with myself. I like to think that I'll probably get them all, but I won't. So yeah, it's definitely, yeah, inspiration will dry up. I tried, because I know that I'm that way. I've made an honest effort to not be like that and really stick to like one core project at a time. Of course, I can't do that. I have one, two, three, four. I have four things just on my desk right here, and then more in this little cabinet here that I'm like, yeah, these are things I'm going to cycle out when I get done with this project. And honestly, probably some of those are just going to go right into the closet that will never get touched again, if I had to guess. But yeah, it kind of sucks.
It's interesting, TJ. As you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking, and maybe this is why so many group builds don't get finished. I think it's there's a time element, certainly, but I think our stashes sort of, it's kind of like when you get cable TV and you got 300 channels to watch, and you just sit there and you're always looking for something. You don't actually watch something. And so I think sometimes our stashes can be a little bit of a factor there. And the other thing is, it's not just time, it's passion. Looking at the build that I'm in right now, I mean, I've been all in on this thing. I mean, too many hours to even talk about here, but if that element of passion isn't there, it's going to certainly affect the work and whether or not the work gets done. And so I think there's more elements than just a time element. But I think it all kind of ties back around in that, that finite amount of, okay, you're all in, you've got the passion, like you mentioned, and then, you put it away, and maybe sometimes you'll come back to it. Maybe sometimes you won't.
Yeah, that's helped me a lot. Like these last two like major projects that I've been working on, like the Return to Sender for SMC last year and what I'm working on this year. Both of those I was like insanely passionate about, especially like Return to Sender last year. That Sherman that I built. I mean, I was all over the real one, so like I was obsessed over every little detail, and because I found it so interesting, I was able to like maintain a high level of passion and drive for that whole project. And frankly, because it was working out, like I was able to like, if I had F something up at any point along that journey, I probably would have thrown that in the trash. I mean, because that project worked well, I was able to be like, okay, yeah, I can keep working on this. So I poured a lot into that, maybe even more than I poured into what I'm working on now, which I think is a more difficult build. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and it comes and goes too. I mean, I think of Panther 131 as one that I was inspired 2 years ago. I started building it a year ago. It went to the wayside, and then I got re-inspired like 3 months ago. So I think it comes and goes in waves, and maybe that's another reason why I was just thinking I have a crap ton of projects as well that have been around for a long time. So many shelf queens that I really want to just rid myself of them, and maybe it's the fear of that inspiration coming back keeps me holding out hope for some of them. But I just need to purge. I think I need to do that. But yeah, so if you want to build some of mine, let me know. You can have it.
I like the purge idea because I pulled 2 more kits from the stash like 2 days ago, and they were weekend edition 109s in 148th. Because I was like, I'm sure I've started them, and then I opened the box. And I had started them, and I look back at what the build quality isn't anything like I can do now. But I'm just like, why am I keeping them? Because I'm not going to rip them apart because they're badly built to this stage, and I wouldn't be okay with that. So why have I kept them? Okay, I can keep the sprues as spare parts, but it's now taken up real estate. And every time I see that box, it's going to be a reminder there's another project you didn't finish. So it's like needs to go.
Yeah,
I gave my Tiger 1 to Jensen. He took that home with him. I was supposed to give. I forgot to give it to him. But I have that Sherman 5 that I built. That I would love to paint because it's ready for paint, and I was going to give it to Ian because I'm like, hey, Ian, you're good at painting green, and you're really good at dusty effects, and this is a olive drab tank covered in dust in the reference photos, so this would be a perfect opportunity for you. And there's some other stuff that I would gladly give away because I'm never going to build it or finish it. I'm never going to finish it.
Yeah, a while back, I think TJ, you were kind of leader of this. We exchanged some kits that were shelf queens. Like I sent you my Tamiya 48 scale Crusader, and I think that's a pretty interesting approach. Send some of your shelf queens up to somebody else and see if you can spur them on. But I think that's kind of tied into what we're talking about here.
And because we haven't mentioned it enough, I was talking with Jackson yesterday about doing a collab for SMC next year, because you're allowed to do that there. When you sign up on Emperor, if it's a collaboration with someone, you put both names on there so both names are recognized, and that is allowed. Like if he were to build something and I painted, or I built something and he painted, or whatever, and you can do it with multiple people. But I've always thought that would be kind of cool, and I know JB, we've talked about it too, and amongst a bunch of us, like, hey, we should all do like a collaboration, because at the good shows, that's rewarded, not necessarily rewarded, but like recognized as a thing that people do, and like, unlike some shows, Cough IPMS Cough, where like it's only in, the collections or like one super niche category where you're allowed to do that. But like, I don't know, like I think it's cool. I have Rob Riv's Stug 3 that I'm going to paint hopefully after SMC. And if it turns out okay, I'm going to take it with me to SMC next year and enter it, just because it's a collab. So I can put his name on it, my name on it. And if it gets awarded, that'll be cool. If it doesn't, okay, still neat.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have his R35. Sorry, Rob, it's still in primer. 2 years later almost, but I'll have it done for South Bend this year. But No, I think that's a great idea. I know this topic has morphed a little bit, but certainly inspiration from others, and that's maybe where I feel guilty about inspiration being perishable, because I do need to get back to that R35 and finish it. And I love the collab idea. I think that's awesome. I think it takes a step in the right direction around what the hobby's about. It's not just very self-centered, dare I say. No, I think that's an awesome idea, and I think I am going to try to purge and move things on that I've lost inspiration with, and maybe somebody else can pick up, dare I say, be inspired to finish them. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm gonna post some stuff. Well, with that topic, that was a lot of fun. Listeners, if you have input here, please send it in. Again, shelf queens or projects that you've loved and lost interest in, and or maybe also tell us the success stories where you've rekindled that lost love. You've lost that love and feeling and found a way to get it back. So we'd be interested to hear more. And yeah, please share online. With that, I'll head over to Scott. We're really close to a big event that we seem to talk about every 3 minutes. And if you're taking shots, you're already about to get into alcohol poisoning. So bear with us. Over to you, Scott.
Yeah, thanks, JB. SMC builds as of this recording, scale model challenge is 41 days. Oh, geez. That's crazy, man. It's going to be amazing, but it also puts the pressure on. So let's talk about where each of us are at. Look, there's only one choice here for who goes first on this. Jensen, how you doing on your planes? And, TJ looks kind of hungry, man.
Herman Goering over there.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. No, honestly, I remember this time last year where I was with that barn and that M3. Honestly, I'm feeling really good with how these. I'm touching wood while I do that. That's an expression. Not, yeah. It's. I don't want to say everything's going perfectly, because in an hour's time there'll be an incident. But honestly, very, very well. I'm very confident and very positive. I felt a bit more confident until I worked out it was 41 days. And it's like, oh, and actually for us lot, it's less. That's 41 days until the day of the show. We're busy 7 days prior to that, so minus a week. But yeah, I'm feeling great. The two 109s I'm working on, like I said earlier, the 109 G6-8Ss with a nice bulbous cowling and the cannons in the nose and one through the prop, going really well. Right now, I am at the weathering stage, which I'm surprised I'm actually here. There was a bit of a hiccup because, and it's weird, JB actually mentioned this last night in chat, I thinned VMS satin with MLT. You can do that, it thins nicely, but it wasn't satin anymore. It was flat. It was incredibly flat. I was like, And I'm glad I did a small test piece because I was getting ready to pin wash. And the reason I thinned it is because it's 1/72 and you apply VMS a bit wet. Didn't want to clog up all the rivet detail. So I did a little test piece on the RLM 76. I'm really glad I did, because that pin wash was not coming off. It gripped. So really glad. I was like, okay, rewind, just give it a recoat of just neat VMS satin. Perfect for putting a pin wash on.
Where was that, where it stuck? Where was that at on the model?
On the underside wing near one of the wheel bays. And it was only a tiny amount. I was like, well, I'm glad I tested it there because I can incorporate that into the weathering.
Yeah, because you did some sort of area-specific darkening of panel lines that looked really good, really sharp.
Yeah, so I've only done that on one aircraft so far because it was getting a bit late last night. I was like, I'll do the rest of this tomorrow. On the Night Fighter G6, on the wing roots, it's that like dirty, grimy weathering that happens to like follow the rivet lines on the upper surface of the wings. Really surprised how that turned out. It turned out better than I thought it was going to. Looks really good, and I've applied that same technique in some areas, but a lot more thinned and subtle, so it just differentiates panels from each other. Yeah, it's the only area I'm going to touch up a little bit with like some acrylics because it kind of needs it was on the nose cone. The Luftwaffe love to put spirals on their nose cones, and I use the decals. It's such a hard surface to get decals to conform to, whether they're peel decals or not. I did the best I could, and looking at them, they look great. They peeled perfectly fine, but just the prop and spinners just need weathering down a little. So I chipped them down because, let's face it, first thing the aircraft going through the air is going to get a bit knackered up. But yeah, they're going surprisingly well, and it's one of those every single day I'm doing something on it, so I'm not getting bored of the look of them yet. Landing gear's all prepped, the wheels are ready. I was just waiting on some brushable chrome for the hydraulic shiny bit of the suspension, the landing gear. That's arrived now, so I can crack on with them. But they slot in a very nice way where they go up and then slide inwards towards the cockpit. So the dihedral, the angle, everything can't be wrong. and you can just push fit them in. So I think for traveling, I'll be keeping them removable anyway. The only thing left to really paint and weather up separately is the canopy sections, because I just used spurs from the kit to use them as just masks. So I need to use the actual canopy, mask the inside and out, paint weather them, find how to actually glue them on open, because the mating surface is near non-existent in that scale. I need to paint the antennas on these aircraft, even though they're the exact same aircraft, the G6AS. The antenna on one of them is at a different position than it is on the other one. And I need to do the drop tank, the center mounted drop tank for the RLM76 version. But we're in the weathering stage now. After oils, just going to matte coat it. That will mute the oil a little bit. Then I'm going in with weathering pencils to do some chipping, because I don't really want to do it with acrylics, and I really like weathering pencils. Basically, I've been following Erla's work. Every time I'm like, oh, what do I do next? I go to his page and look at his Messerschmitts, his Focke-Wulfs. I'm just like, right, perfect. And today I've also got a bottle of carbon black ink arriving, so I can, again, do a little bit more shading rather than having to like thin down paints. I can use that because that's something he uses as well. But yeah, very good position. I mean, a couple of days, 3 days work, and they should be done. Then I can move on to either the two P51s I'm doing for the Iwo Jima P51s, or the 109F and G, the Africa versions. Or, as I asked in chat the other day, and JB said maybe do the 48th, move back onto the FM1 Martlet. It's technically a Martlet because it's Fleet Air Arms. But undecided, still have the options, but with like 30, if we really do the math, like 34 days, decision needs to be made kind of before I actually finish these two. But I'm in a very good position right now. I feel very good. And let's face it, these two are the important ones that win me the bet. So that's really what I'm focused on right now.
So as a percentage, the pair that you have to get done for the bet with TJ, where are you at? Give me a number.
80. 80%, yeah. Because the landing gear's done. The oil just needs to go on. The only thing I've got to do is finish weathering with like a little bit more oil and pencils and ink and attach canopies.
I'm calling on that. You're not 80%. You just aren't.
Yeah, I'd be careful. You know, you mentioned attaching the canopies open. Man, the Galan hood is such a unique piece, and that pivot joint on 72. And are you going to put the cross supporting?
The tiny little PE.
Dude, you should just model them closed.
Oh, he's gonna f that up so
you're
bad.
You're gonna knacker that up properly.
Part of me wants to obviously get the cockpit, the canopies right prepped and ready, not attach them until SMC, because they will break off.
Oh, 100%, they will break off.
They have to be 100% done by the time I get to the UK. That's the bet. They have to be 100% done. You agreed to it.
Yeah, that is annoying.
Gluing anything on, they would be done. Not, oh, let me put this last piece on. Oh, I still need to work on it. They have to be 100% done.
That is, I agree. I remember saying that. Okay. I'm going to have to make sure I am not taking that big nuclear suitcase travel box this year. They are not going in that. They are going in my cupcake carry-in box, which is much safer. Okay, yep.
You have a box for carrying cupcakes?
It was the one that got dropped in Ireland. It's that 2-tier clear thing that the Irish destroyed. But yeah, I think they're a lot safer in that than the nuclear football. But yeah, I'm in a great position.
Sure you are, bud.
All right. TJ, how's yours coming along?
It's coming along. Kind of like I mentioned before, I'm comfortable with where I am right now, especially I think after today, I should be okay. If I can get actual color on it today, which I feel like I can do, I will be feeling very, very good. I'm working 410s next week, so I'll be off next Friday, which is spectacular. So it's a full day that I'll have to work. Still have to do Saturday school on Saturday, so yeah, I can't enjoy it too much. But yeah, I feel like if I can get most of the painting done with it, like this today, and then what little bit of time I get like Tuesday night and Thursday night, because I don't have anything going on those nights, I should be pretty good. The weathering isn't too crazy on this model. There obviously will be some, but not like a crazy amount. The base is going to be a lot of work. That's actually what I'm worried about the most, is the base and making the base good, I guess. So we'll see. Yeah, but I feel pretty good. I like kind of like what I mentioned. I like what I've done. I feel like when I add some more layers after we're done here, I'll probably like it even more. Yeah, and now it's just going to be. I've got the picture. I have the picture of the real thing. I'm trying to match it as best I can. Obviously, I'm going to have to take some liberties. I can't do one to one, but I'm going to give it the old college try. But yeah, now with that, I feel pretty good. I've already pre-registered it, and I would love to bring it. I have Edwards P40E. It's right here. It's one of the ones sitting on my desk. It's here. I've got the cockpit glazing painted. The inside's all painted. I think I got all the seam work done. So I could paint this like right now. I'm probably not even going to prime it because I use lacquers. I might try that. I've never done it before. So we'll see. But it's ready to go. If I feel like I have enough time, or if I know when I get to the base on my main project, there's going to be drying time involved because of what the products that I have to use. So I'm hoping I can kind of like work this in. It's just OD over neutral gray, so I could get this base coated in like an afternoon, and then start working on bringing in depth to the colors. Yeah, I feel like I can get this done, and it's not going on anything special. It's just going to go on a little tiny dirt base because it's a Flying Tigers airplane. So yeah. That's where I am. I feel okay.
It looks massive in your hand. I've been working on 72. That aircraft looked like 132 in your hand, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a decent sized airplane. I mean, they were pretty big, I feel. But yeah, it's a great kit. I love it. The one thing I don't like about it is the rear canopy is two pieces. So there's a seam and a clear piece on the top ridge, which is really annoying. I'm gonna have the canopy open, so if there is any, I've like sanded it like 3 or 4 times, so I think I got it. I got it good enough, so we'll see.
With your the Sherman you're building, are you putting a QR code with it with reference to the IRL images?
Not this time.
No, I didn't think so.
Not this time. I learned my lesson last year. I will not be doing that.
Very wise.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like it's moving along really, really good. That P40 looks great. Hopefully, you can get some time and get that finished. JB, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but how are you coming on your build?
Yeah, I won't repeat 131, but yeah, it's going well. Like I said, I'm going to touch up the numerals on the side. That should be pretty quick. And then, as TJ mentioned, my base is not complicated, but it just takes time. So, my goal today is actually to get it roughed out. And what I'll do is I have some MDF that I typically cut to the size of the wood base. I bought some rare earth magnets on, Amazon that got delivered yesterday. And this time I'm going to do it. So with the 1340 last year, I had magnets in the base and the top plate. I'll do the same, but this year I'm going to use rare earth, which are a little bit stronger. And what I'm hoping is what I'll do for transporting, I will put them in my standard wood box, but these magnets are so strong that I'm actually going to put magnets underneath the box. So when I travel, the magnets will hold those pieces in place in the box just as an extra measure of support. So I'm pretty excited about that. It just kind of clicked. And what's nice is on the bottom of my box, I just have felt. So I'll just literally just put it right on top of the felt, and it should feel the other magnet just on the other side of that like wood, because it's not too thick. So that's not really an SMC project, but it kind of, when traveling with models to secure them with the base in a box, I'm going to do that. So the 131, obviously we talked about. I'm going to do a figure with that. I'm going to do the 1008 or 1008 truck. I have that finished. I have the base by Bill. I'm going to build that same kind of thing with the magnets. I'll take a Hetzer bust that I finished, or sorry, I should say wedge with a figure. And then I'm also working on this guy. I think I've shown it before. I'm showing the list, my co-host now, but it's a Panzer IV with a bunch of track on it. It's painted from an acrylic perspective and had some washes done to it. Next up, I'm going to add rust to the spare tracks, and then I'm going to add the foliage from Faustus. So I have their pine burrows, and I plan on putting some on it as well, and then putting a figure out front. Those were the other nameplates I got made from Christian as well. So fingers crossed, if all goes well, I still need to register my models, but I'll take 131 for ordnance, single piece ordnance, not diorama. I'll do the pickup truck. I'll put that in civilian vehicles. I have 2 wedges, and then I have a Terminator done from Warhammer, and I might take it, But if I have a stretch goal is I have another one halfway finished where if I get time, I'll finish him and take him. But I'm hoping I can take 5 pieces, so it should be good. And those will all fit in my one box. I did some measuring for 131 and the truck, and their bases are wide enough so both of them can fit side by side in the box. So that's what determined their base size. So busy, but I am excited. There's only one weekend I'll be gone between now and SMC. That's when I'll be at RockCon. But otherwise, the next 2 weekends are free. My wife is out of town this week and next week during the week. So in the weeknights, I should be able to dedicate some solid time to scale modeling. But yeah, busy.
It's good to see progress. You're a busy guy. Yesterday was a day that you got a ton done, so that was really, really cool to see. For myself, we kind of talked about it already. I started on the concrete base that will be under the model, and so this week I see probably a lot of time going into there. As far as the main model, last week I forgot to mention, I did some oil washes on the metal tracks and got those really well and did a bunch of sanding for the wear spots. So I think as far as that goes, the model's doing good. I do have some metallic highlights to add to the road wheels and do the drive sprockets this week. But I think most of my next week or two are going to be getting the base sorted and getting the composition. There's a couple of extra elements that I'm adding in there. And so probably work on that, and then got to start thinking about how I'm going to transport the base and the model as well. Got one of those cases like TJ and Grant have those bases those model cases in there. So I got to figure out how to anchor everything in and use that because I'm a first timer there. But yeah, feeling pretty okay. I'm glad I set an aggressive time frame, and like Jensen said, my strategy has just been a little bit every day, whether I'm tired or whatever. I got to get down there and actually make some forward progress and momentum. So get that done. Anyway, all right. Well, good luck to everybody, especially to Jensen. TJ does look hungry, man. Anyway, let's move over to TJ to talk about some upcoming shows.
All right, yeah, so let's talk about some shows that are coming up. We're going to start with SpasmCon 40, which is September 20th, and that is held by the Shenango Valley Area Scale Modelers Club in St. Mike Social Hall, and that is at 2230 Highland Road in Hermitage, PA. So check that out. We also have IPMS Patriot Scale Modelers presenting PatCon 2025, and that's on September 28th. At the American Heritage Museum in Hudson, Massachusetts. That show runs from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and the Patriot Scale Modelers are an inclusive bunch with a wide variety of interests, from Warhammer and Wargaming to Gundam to armor and aircraft and everything in between, so everyone is welcome. The IPMS Region 6 Convention, aka RockCon, is at the Jacksonville Community Center, and that is 5 Municipal Drive, Jacksonville, Arkansas, and that is on Friday, September 26th, and there will be classes featuring Jim Rice, amazingly talented figure painter, Wes Salazar, who is painting cars, and the model drop-off on the 26th, and then the Saturday, the 27th, is the actual show and contest. All right, High Plains Con is on Saturday, October 4th at the Ranch Events Complex McKee 4-H building in Loveland, Colorado. ArmorCon 2025 will be Friday, October 3rd and Saturday, October 4th at the Wyndham Southbury Hotel in Southbury, Connecticut. That is an AMP show. It's kind of like a mini regional. Our friends over at the Modeling Insanity podcast, I think most of those guys will be there, at least the American-based ones. The Southern Maryland Scale Modelers have PAXCon 2025 on October 4th in Hollywood, Maryland. You can check that out on their website, and that is somd-scalemodelers.club/PAXCon/2025. I was hoping to go to that. I have school that day, so it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to make it because it's like 2 hours away from where I teach school. By the time I got out of school, it'll probably be over. Another big one is the 50th show of MMSI, and that will be held on October 17th and 18th at the Schaumburg Marriott in Schaumburg, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. For more details, please check out the MMSI website at military-miniature-society-of-illinois.com. No one's ever heard of this show before, but Scale Model Challenge will be held on October 18th and 19th in Eindhoven, Netherlands. Please check out the details of that show at scalemodelchallenge.com. And the last one we're going to touch on is Scale ACT 2025, which will be held in Lynham, on November 8th and 9th, and this is the 25th anniversary of their show. So please check out episode 121 or go to actsms.asn.au/scale-act-25 for more information.
Okay, I want to lead us into sort of like a second mini discussion point. And it was something I thought about whilst I was working on these 109s. And it was to destroy or preserve. And my reference to that is surface details or details on any model. So for reference, I was working on the 109s. Anyone who knows a 109, it has the seam line on the back, on its spine, and on the belly. That is supposed to be there. That is very common on all Messerschmitt produced aircraft. It's the same on the 110, 262, 109, not 108. But it's a very common thing you'd see on aircraft manufactured by them. And a lot of people, if they're not aware of that, will remove that by sanding or filling and sanding and whatever. I was of the mindset, I was like, okay, very small aircraft, glue the parts together, try and keep them as neat as possible, and then just try and leave it without doing any sanding, scribing, or rework, and just try and have it glued as neat as I can and preserve a join line? Or do you think, sod it, I won't try and preserve it, I'll just sand it, remove it all, get it all perfectly seamless and smooth, then re-rivet, re-scribe, add the paddle lines back. And I'm using the 109 as an example because that's where I was recently, but you can see this on any number of builds. Literally any subject where you're of the mindset of, okay, do I be ultra careful around these details, or do I just think, sod it, fix it, and then add it all back? And I'm interested to everyone else's like perspective on that. It's like, do you be ultra cautious with your work and like ultra precise, or do you like, it's fine, I'll get it as perfect as I can and put the detail back? JB looked quite quizzical and confused, so I'm going to go to him straight away.
Yeah, I was just trying to think about this topic and looking back through things. Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, we were talking about it in chat just a little bit ago. I think, man, this is interesting. There are times where I really care, and then there are times where I just don't give a shit. And I think it really depends on the subject. But I think your comment about the 109 is along the same lines. I feel I share that as well. And as I try to think through things, like there have been multiple builds where it's like, oh man, I really screwed that one up. And then I'm just like, you know what, push through. Where others, I've thrown it back in the box, and it's part of the thing that I'm going to give away to people in a few weeks. So maybe come back to me. I gotta think through some things on this topic. Maybe I'll kick it over to TJ. He's chomping at the bit.
Yeah, I'm more of a preserve type of modeler. Like, not always, because I very rarely just throw things away or just completely just whatever. I don't know, the closest one that I can think that I need to like, that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to push through that, is when I was working on the MiG-21R, I tried to peel the decals, the Edward decals, and I completely messed them up. I ripped a bunch of them up, like on the roundels for the Cuban national markings. And I'm like, ooh, that sucks, because I really liked where this build was. And I'm like, well, I'm pretty far along. I've got a bunch of I've got a freaking aftermarket engine in it that was like almost the same price as the kit and like all this other stuff. So I'm like, well, I guess I just need to paint them. I haven't done that yet, but it shouldn't be too hard. It's a circle and a triangle and a star. I mean, all pretty easy stuff to do. But yeah, like part of me, I was like, damn it. Like, I can't believe I did that. I've done this before. I've peeled these decals before. I should have known better. Yeah. And then the stencils were messed up too. And I'm like, there's a billion stencils on this thing. I don't want to do all these over again. So I'll just try to sand them off and paint over them and be like, oh yeah, that stencil got erased by accident, whatever, it happens. That's what I got. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're a preserver.
I mean, it's evidenced by how many shelf queens we have. I think that's what I was getting stuck on, is like, I preserve everything. I can only think of, like, I was trying to rack my brain how many projects I've totally just binned. And there's not that many, because evidenced by the ton of shelf queens I have. I need to get through the sunk cost fallacy that, oh, it's worth so much because you've put so much time into it. It's not. It's just like a scale model that you're trying to sell, where people are like, oh, it should be worth this much. You should get paid this much an hour. It's like, no one cares. And the same can be said for shelf queens, where value is in the eye of the person who is purchasing it. And I think the value in our eyes for our own work and those shelf queens is at that threshold where it's like, man, I've put so much work into this. It's hard to let it go. I'm thinking now, like, I have a shelf queen. My oldest shelf queen is the Dragon Initial Tiger 1 from 2001. So I have like a 25-year-old shelf queen. It's sitting right here. It's survived moves across the country, multiple moves. So it's those that, I'd be lying. I had to think about it, and I don't really need to think about it because I preserve everything. Call me a damn near a shelf queen hoarder. So I do need to make that mental model switch where it's like, man, it's bogging you down. It's taking up shelf space. And if somebody else can use it, great. And if not, it goes in the nuke pile. So yeah, this is a good topic. I think it's closely tied to the other one where when your inspiration fades, do you try to preserve that inspiration that you can revisit, or do you harvest in hopes of finding something easier and better to do in the future? Not necessarily easier, but something more inspiring. But yeah, it's a closely related topic. I just needed nuke stuff. I mean, I got shelf queens easily a couple of, 5 years old. And it's like, what are you doing? And if somebody else can use it and be inspired by it, then yeah, I'll share and they can preserve it.
Modelers love to fall victim to the sunk cost fallacy. That is like the modeler's creed.
In
like
every aspect.
There are very few, and like the people that are like, no, just throw that in the trash. Like, what? Why would you do that? Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, the sunk cost fallacy is the acting irrational by not changing course when a change in course would be the most beneficial thing to do. But you do that because you feel like you've sunk too much time or money or whatever. It's a business thing too. Lots of businesses do it because, we spent all this money on R&D. Why would we abandon it now? Like, because you wasted your money. So just cut your losses and move on. And then people can do it too. Like JB was saying, like, oh man, I spent all these hours building this model, but it's effed up. Like, okay, well, you're not going to fix it. There's no recovering from it. Just get rid of it and chalk it up to like, you spent that time and money to learn a lesson. Instead of like, oh no, I'm going to make something out of this when you, me, and everyone knows it's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. And the same can be said for stashes. Like when I say every facet, the same can be said for stashes, paint, everything. People buy it. Oh, it's worth this much. No, it's not. Your 40-year-old monogram F whatever has been superseded 10 times. Don't try to sell it for $27 at a show. And then I see it every other year at High Plains Con for sale on the same rack by the same person. You would have had better, if you bought dirt, it probably is worth, it's inflated more. But no, it's that. I know we've diverged a couple times during these topics, but here's another one where to preserve or destroy this, again, the same can be said for stashes. It's not just models that you're working on or have finished. It's the stash as well, where it's like, do I really need to keep this? And I also think of like the boxes I have of sprues downstairs, and I open them once a year to look for that random ass part that I never find, but yet I keep them. And it's embarrassing because when my guests come over and if they open up that closet in the basement, they're going to see like a wall of just plastic garbage. So yeah, this is another interesting topic where I need to destroy more just because it weighs you down. And it goes back to, when we talked about workspaces and having an open, clear workspace, the same can be said for a shelf of doom or a stash. So yeah, I need to destroy more. I suffer from the sunk cost fallacy.
Where do you sit on this, Scott? I imagine you're quite a preserver.
I've actually been better at sort of what JB was just talking about. I had I had 4 great big huge dragon boxes full of armor spare parts, and I never ever used them and was able to finally get rid of them. I've also been moving a lot of kits that I know I'm never going to do, so been getting a little better. To go back to your original thing on the 109, when I'm doing a build, I try to plan for something like that spine seam. What I would do is normally I'd glue that fuselage together and you kind of squish it and ooze the glue out, right, to help you kind of feel it. But where that seam is clean, I'd actually probably put the parts together dry and then hit it with a little bit of liquid cement so that you preserve as much as possible. Because I've tried to, when I build, I'm really slow, but I try not to make it harder than it needs to be, and I'm not always successful at that. But yeah, I think I've gotten a lot better on just moving things along, even if it's just giving a kit away. Selling it is fine, but use an example like JB does. The sellers at shows who bring kits recognizing that and sell them for $10 or $20 are the ones that sell all the models. The guys that want what they paid for them 15 years ago, they don't usually do very well. And, kind of use the same thing in my stash. Try to make sure that if you realize that you're not going to get any more fun or enjoyment, there's a fun, I think TJ's talked about that quite a bit. You get the fun when you buy a kit, there's that taking it open, opening the box and sort of dreaming about what you have planned for it. So that has a cost. And, if that's the enjoyment you get out of it, great. Recognize that and move on. If you're never going to build that model, just move it, make some space. And, like JB said, I think curating your stash and being thoughtful and deliberate about it, I think definitely has a lot of helpful elements to it. I mean, for one thing, it gives you room to put new kits there, right?
New and better. Yeah, it's one of those. I've given myself this rule that anything modeling related, stash, kit, shelf queen, anything like that. If I come to it and I'm just like, maybe don't get rid of it, keep it. I'll keep it. But then the next time I come to do a clear out, if I come to that same kit again, it's like, right, twice I've looked at this now, time to go. Because otherwise I'll just be like, I'll find any excuse to keep it. I'll be like, yeah, but there might be spare parts I need. It's like, just get rid of it. 3D printers exist now. Spare parts aren't as important as they used to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got kind of brutal with trashing stuff that isn't needed anymore.
I mean, just Jensen, how many kits do you have in your stash-ish? Just give me a ballpark figure.
500.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So me desperately trying to cling on to a weekend edition 40 scale 109, not the end of the world, is it? I have more than I could. We know how quickly I build. I've done nothing this year so far. 500 kits. It's nice to have the choice. I love variety and thinking anything I want to build at the time. It's like, well, I've got something along those lines, but 500 kits, even some of the most expensive ones I've got, I'm like, am I going to actually, when I bought off dock the big Felix dough, Wingnut Wings 32nd scale Felix, it's like, okay, I got it because it was a good deal. Am I building that? Its wingspan is nearly as tall as I am as a human. It's probably never going to get built, but I keep it just because, and it's something we just accused a lot of people of being guilty of. I'm keeping it because I'm like, yeah, but it's a rare kit. Yeah, but it's expensive. But you'll never find another one on the market. It's like, is that a reason? You're keeping it. You sat there with money, literal money in the stash you are not going to use, and for the reason it was produced. I could make money off that. I could just sell it, but it's got a very fancy box, so I want to keep it.
Well, I have about 20% of that. I have about 100 kits in my stash. TJ, what's in your stash?
I actually just looked this morning. I think it's 243. Because I just added 4 to it this week, and I keep it. I mentioned before I have a spreadsheet that I keep all my kits on, and then my figure kits. I think I have 40 something, not including 35th scale figures for tanks and stuff. That doesn't go in the figure kit list. I just keep those in a big pile and just pull the ones out that I want. But yeah,
JB,
I bet I have between. I'm somewhere in the middle between TJ and Jensen. Probably I'm guessing 3 to 4. But like all of us, I can look at them and I can tell you each one why I bought it, because inspiration at the time was the factor, at least in my mind. Whether it's a new kit, you want to be the first to build it, whether somebody else built it, where you saw a picture, each one, I can tell you the story of why I bought that damn thing. Or it was just cheap as chips and I wanted to buy it. I'm a grown up with grown up money and I can do that. But I do need to cull the herd. What's interesting is I have my stash. You all have been over the big closet in the basement. Well, there's been spillover into the other closets, and I need to keep myself honest and make sure that whatever stash I have, it fits in that one area. I also have my little closet behind me up here on the second floor, which I don't mind. That's a spillover, but when it's going other places, I gotta rein it in. But no, it's sunk cost fallacy keeps them around.
Yeah, there's also other motivation. I consider myself a sci-fi modeler. I really build more tanks than anything. But as a sci-fi modeler, I was kind of, as I grew up in the hobby, it's sort of like with science fiction kits. If you want something, you better get it. Because if you don't, your only option is gonna be, the Wingnut Wings thing where you buy it on eBay for three times what you would have paid for it. So I tend to be trained as a hoarder. And, I get and it isn't just kits, it's paints. And, I do this maddening thing where I'm too lazy to put all my paints into a thing on my phone. So I have them all on racks. I know what I have. And instead of doing an inventory, I have hundreds and hundreds of bottles of paint. And when I start a new build, I go to the hobby shop and I buy new paint. So there's a little bit of that. And I think, stashes are fine. I'm not telling anybody out there that has a stash because we all have one that it's unhealthy. But yeah, this episode kind of seems to be everything seems to be creeping back to manage your stashes, especially with Jensen because he has 500. Anyway, no, great discussion, Jensen. Really good, thought-provoking. But yeah, I think my answer is there's a balance of destroying and preserving. I think maybe a healthy balance, and I'm not quite there, but I'm better than I used to be.
I was just going to say also, if you have the means to buy 1,000 kits and that's what you love to do, go for it. Like, gobbles. I'm not going to tell you gobbles. Like I'm, I know people get upset when people are like, oh, I have this big stash. I'm like, good for you, man. Like if that brings you happiness, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. Enjoy yourself. Like treat yourself. Fine leather goods, mimosas, treat yourself.
And could be spending money on things that are so much worse. Let the grown up have his little toy. Okay, I know it's a great discussion, JB. Wasn't yours. Great discussion, me. Okay, going to kick this over to JB now to talk about the probably final installment of the 135th AK Chevy trucks, sponsored by Micro World Games.
Yeah, thanks, Jensen. We're coming to an end of the official group period. I would love for people to keep posting away. I will own that this group build was a little bit of, we all got distracted, I think. I think when we talked about this back at AMPS in May, we were all extremely excited for the kit. And I think that's still true. It's a fantastic kit. A lot of us have built it. A lot of us have finished. But, I think what we found is that the summer months, at least for me, and I think I can speak the same for some of my co-hosts, have been pretty crazy. And unfortunately took a lot of energy away from what we had hoped for on this. And I have, like I said, I have my truck finished. I will get the base on it and then I will share all the pictures of it. But it's been a fun time. We've had some great participants like Mark Bradley, Cody Kaczynski, Ian Bonner, and a few others that have finished their kits and shared it. And we're very grateful for that. And we'll look to take care of you guys in some way, shape, or form. But definitely want to say thank you again to Micro World Games and AK. It's an awesome kit. For those that don't have it, you should go definitely buy one because it's pretty sweet. And I plan on picking up another one at SMC just because they're such a rich topic. And I'll probably do my next one as a true civilian vehicle. But again, thank you to both of those sponsors. This was a lot of fun, and we look forward to the next one. And we'll probably pick a group build probably in the winter time frame when things start to slow down. People are kept indoors a little longer, and it might we'll look for something favorable in the future. But with that, back to you, Jensen or Scott.
Yeah, shout out to Dukes. John and I were talking last night. I need to pick up one of these AK trucks because he's got lift kits and big BF Goodrich tires and lift gates with both the Chevy and the GMC logo. So it's a great subject as far as making a civilian truck or a million different, military subjects. So anyway, hopefully a bunch of you enjoyed that group build. And I know that the Posse group has had some great photos in there. So appreciate everybody, taking the time to do that and encourage each other and inspire each other. So that's good. All right, let's see. 9:43 a.m. here in the Mountain Time Zone. Jensen, what time is it over there in the UK?
Well, Scott, the time is 4:44, 7th of October, 1940. Whilst Fritz is flying above and trying to wring terror down on our brave men and women of Great Britain, our airmen are giving them the right royal thrashing. Whilst you head down to your air raid shelter, what better way to do it than wearing cozy and stylish Triple P merchandise? Stay warm and safe with your Triple P hoodie, t-shirt, or even those fancy pants from the future, lounge trousers. Or why not boil up a pot of smouldering hot tea and sip it out of your plastic Posse mug? Be careful, you must ration your tea now. But don't ration your war bonds and spend them on life-changing merchandise. Send your war bonds to loungetrousers.com and receive your merch within 7 to 10 working days, or when the war is over, whichever comes first. Now, we return to your regular scheduled programming. God, I'm good.
You definitely missed your calling, my friend.
Uncle Adolph's even going to go on and buy something now.
That was surprisingly good.
Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. We'll all stay free.
That was a pretty good. That's pretty. I don't even know what you call that.
Remember, loose lips sink ships.
I mean, for the listeners out there, we literally cue him up and then we all just hold on because we don't know what's coming.
What comes next? Who knows?
We're going to record a merch commercial in the Churchill War Rooms, and you're
Yes.
going to give the brief in the ops room.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be dashing.
Then we have to do an American version too, because we have to get someone to do like that. What do they call that?
An Edward R. Murrow kind of a thing, or
Someone's got to do a mid-Atlantic accent.
Yes, the mid-Atlantic accent that they all did back then. All the famous people did.
It's a great accent. I was going to do that. I was like, I can't pull it off. So I'll just stick with the 1940s radio British voice.
That was very good. Not AI, folks. That was Jensen.
All natural here.
I wonder how much it would cost to hire H. John Benjamin to do that for us. He's got a pretty good mid-Atlantic accent that he's done on the show Archer a bunch of times.
Yeah, we could contract them instead of giving they sell those birthday wishes for, I don't know, like $75-$100. We could just be like, here, instead of saying happy birthday, just do our ad spot.
Read this.
It'll take you 1 minute.
Okay, so I suppose that wraps it up for episode 123 of The Plastic Posse. Once again, I want to thank our supporters and sponsors, Micro World Games, Tankcraft, Tamiya USA, Bases by Bill, and AK Interactive, and of course, all of you wonderful listeners and Patreon supporters out there. So, until the next episode, which will be 124, we will see you in 2 weeks for more things, scale modeling. Stay safe, everyone, and get to the workbench.
One of the ways that you can help to support the Plastic Posse is to become an Outrider. If you want to become a Plastic Posse Outrider, it's easy. And yes, you can even do it wearing those pants from the future, lounge trousers. Just go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Plastic Posse Podcast, and you can set up a recurring donation there. These contributions help offset the costs of our bringing you the posse, and there are 3 different tiers of support you can choose from, and they start at just $1 a month. There are some great benefits to being an Outrider, like early access to podcasts, premium access to the hosts, the chance to appear on a podcast, and exclusive Triple P content and social event at model shows. We're all going to be at SMC together, and we're going to be discussing some new ideas for our Patreon. So kind of all of those of you that are a Patreon, keep an eye on the page, but look for some new content that will be coming soon.
Let's recognize our amazing deputy marshals. These loyal contributors support what the posse does, and we genuinely appreciate each and every one of you, and they are, in no particular order, Paul Burdett, Ryan Smith, Alamo Squadron Model Fiesta, Curtis Towers, Winston Gould, The Quiet Corner Modeler, Daryl Miller, Rob Booth, David Clark, Richard Lane, Robbie Knopfs, Wesley Becker, Eric DeCleesh, David Wassel, Matt Tutman, Glenn Fellon, Zach Pease, Brett Marcan, Greg Williams, Nick Wolf, Brian Clark, Sean Earl, Black Hat Scale Models, Craig Jarbo, Red Beach One Studios, James Rondo, Mike Norris, Stephen Rodwell, Rick Cooper, Eric Covina, John Hale, Eric Kane, Logan Hansen, Tim Gidcom, Dan Newman, Robert Blocker, Tyler Moore, Derek Post, Craig Flynn, Kenneth Childress, Drew Gardner, Scott Hall, Frank Perone, Jeremy Diamond, Terry Wilkinson, Chris Lovewell, Andrew Callis, Ethan Nidemill, Steve Baker, Patrick Brown, Jay Kidd, Brandon Gentry, Lee Fogel, Robert Klein, Mark Ewing, Toadman, Model Doc, Doug Reed, Greg James, Les Porcala, John Everett, Uncle Buck, Mark Bradley, Eric Brubaker, Jeremy Moore, DB Scale Model Studio, Jeremy Elliott, Mike Talley, Previous Seat, Mediocre Middle-Aged Modeler, Dan Knoffel, and JC Osborne.
Let's not forget our posse foreman. This crew is made up of posse outriders to give the deputy marshals a hand, and we thank all of them for their support. That's the voice of Bob, Graham, Keith, Dwayne, AK Armor, Bill, JAK, Casey, Therese, Raphael, Russ, Steven, Mickle, LeVar, Gil, Mike, Michael, Steve Scott, Emery, The Krieger, Aussie Scale Modeler, William, Jeff, Eddie, Ross, Warhoff Models, G. Baker, Tom Stuff, Crazy Loca, Len, Cliff, Damian, Cody, Nukeman, Mike, Paul, Boners, Models, Mr. Grizz, Jackson, Joel, Chris, Jamie, MD Models, Papa Steve, Munsell, JV, Eric, Matthew, and David. And of course, the $1 and free Posse Outriders like our newest member, Von Kettler. Thanks, guys.